Assalamu alaikum.
What does that mean?
Peace be upon you.
What? What
Peace
does it
be
mean?
upon you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Peace be upon
What
you.
does that mean? What does that mean? You are a bestower of a peace?
No, not me.
With who? Then you are disturbing it by noise. Have you ever asked people what does that mean?
Can you tell me what it means, Sheikh?
I can't. What do I know? I'm not in that culture. Assalamu alaikum, mashallah. Allahumma salli ala. And bum, 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 bum. Look at them. Bubbling, mumbling, fumbling. What is it? I don't know. I'm asking you. I didn't say assalamu alaikum. You did.
So, am I supposed to say hello or hi? How are you?
You're not supposed to be in this world. You're not supposed to have this identity. That's the problem.
So, Sheikh, what identity, if I'm living in this world, what identity am I supposed to have?
There's no you. I am living in it. That's the whole mistake. There's life. There is arwah. There are spirits. There is life. There are divine bundles of energies that the feeble mind cannot understand. Once there is
Sheikh,
an I, it's an illusion of independence or ability to exercise power. And the killing field begins. That's it.
the illusion of independence has a lot to do with cause and effect, and I know you often say it's better to be with someone than being alone. So,
if you are foolish enough to have been born, it's better to be with someone else. Because you have then you think you are the only God. But whereas everybody else thinks they should be regarded as God. And that's why you find often parents say, I told them so many times. I have a friend here who also, I remember very much his wagging finger. So I told them so. He's wise, he's had a bit more experience. So he's right. He said, if you do this, this, and that. So he waved. Everybody else has to practice it themselves. And sometimes they make mistakes that is not, retraceable. You can't get out of it.
Is there a real need for marital relationships nowadays because of what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't understand marital. I understand martial, killing each other,
Martial,
yes.
sorry.
At each other's throat, yes. No, you need companions. Once there is creation, there is duality. Quran says, وَخَلَقْنَا مِن كُلِّ شَيْءٍ زَوْجَيْنِ. And of everything that you know and you don't know and you imagine, we created pairs. That's nature is. Quran describes to us reality as it is. So there are twos. Look at the animals, how much they, the dog when it sees another dog, how happy it is. So it is duality, aiming for unity. Oh, we seem to be of the same species. Oh, then let's get together. Before they are together, some new criminals arrive as children. And then they quarrel, but for the sake of the children, they don't separate. And then there comes the education of the children, and the future of the children, and the home for them, and the mortgage for the children, and way. No, we remain miserable for 50 years for the sake of the children. Who are the children? And the children grow up and say, it's your fault, criminals. Look at me. I'm in a mess because of you.
How do people...
Go on.
How do people break out of that?
They buy more gifts and go for Umrah.
So, has in your personal path or life journey, has love, passion, obsession played a role in any way?
Nothing to do with me. There is no personal. Love is the ultimate connector. Everything in this life is to do with connection. Here you're trying to connect with me. And we use one or two other unfortunate chaps to connect. Connection, 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 connection. Because the whole thing was intense, immense, cosmic singularity. It was one. Quran says, heavens and earth were in unity in one. But we decided to split them asunder. So two. Wherever you look, multiple. So truth is beyond my limited mind, which functions only in duality. But my mind is an outcome of truth, enabled the soul of spirit of oneness to connect in the world of duality for a while, and then it leaves. So the so-called I, the echo, the reflection, the shadow of the real I, is needed for the soul to remain for a while on earth and connect. That's not a bad place. They don't hate me. They don't, I can stay like a flame that does not give up and leave. So, like a flame, it is content to remain being fed a bit and continue in the world of duality. And the time comes that it leaves again. The issue is falling into space and time. Quran says, now, O Bani Adam, ihbitu ba'dukum aduwwun li ba'd. Now fall on earth, half of you is the enemy of the other half. One half of me says, no, they're all right, they're nice people, they listen to them. The other half says, look how cruel they are. To creatures, to animals, to ants, to their wives, and so on. So there's always that inherent conflict. It is part of nature. And that's how it is. In order to cope with that, you have to understand how existence is based upon. What is the net upon net upon net upon net that has created this web of universe, of incredible galaxies and billions of interconnectedness in them. Much of it we don't feel, we don't realize. A few meteorites fall, we are in a mess. If you look back a few 100 million years ago, there is still a lot of mobility in the earth. Volcanic activities were far more. Now it is stable, but if you measure it, a few centimeter rise in every hill and mountain. So we say, no, it's very stable ground. All relative in space and time. But my ruh does not belong to space and time. It has emerged from boundless, eternal, total, timeless state. That is the puzzle. So, for suddenly, he or she has a touch of being out of themselves through attachment, through love, as you say. Oh, I love you. Would you love me forever? Of course I love you forever. But not until next week when I find you have no money, you're burnt out and you're an alcoholic or on drugs. I wait until. But I'm reliable. I maintain being reliable, but not to you as you have changed. But I consider myself reliable. The human being is ultimately reliable with unreliability. That's it. And the poor child wants a mother that's always reliable, a slave. I called you, mommy, why didn't you run? But you know, there are others who also want me and love me. No, but I am the real one. I am from you. 9 months, you know, I used you as my toilet.
What is the spiritual purpose of all these relationships with your parents, your spouse, kids?
You use the word spiritual to give your question a bit more weight. It's meaningless. Absolutely. Spiritual purpose. What's God's design? What? It's not. It's a drift. You, I, he, and she. We are in a process. Where were you before you were born? Where were you before you were conceived? Where will you be after your body is left behind? The process for the soul is the world of arwah, of spirits. It's exposed to different zones of consciousness. You think in terms of consciousness and intelligence and beams that connect with it, then you see it's a movement, 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 movement. And yet we want total and utter stability. We're looking for certainty in a zone that we are alive in, which is totally uncertain. So look at the inherent conflict. And he said, no, we are very reasonable people, we are very sensible, you know, we are mashallah, Muslim, you know, we are Muslims, and whatever. The whole thing is an utter change. Every instant it changes. I change, and my hormones change, my mind changes, my temperature changes. Well, I am still looking forward to find some clear human beings. If you find one, do let me know.
If
they
one
will
knows
be content. That human being will be content irrespective of the circumstance. Doesn't mean they are not doing something or not doing something, or no, but they are still stable in their inner center. They are tranquil, and they say, I'm dying now. Please excuse me, this may be my last sentence. Some others will have to take care of the body because they don't like it to sit around stinking, because they had a bit of a respect for the person. So suddenly they see the person now stinks, so they have to quickly take it and bury it. That's who we are. You know, there are some fine things about human conduct, and there are some many absurd things about human conduct. So that's how it is. That's what it is. It's work in progress. And the main thing not to do is not to ask your parents, because they are clueless. If they had any clue, they wouldn't produce you with the ignorance they are still in. Can you imagine a child suddenly turning to the parents, and why were you instrumental in my coming to this world? Please tell me. Because I learned how to become an accountant, like the South African Indians. So as I pay mortgage, no, we would like you to have children. But Baba, I am a child. Well, why? What is it for? The answer, which you will never hear, is in order to glorify the one behind the two, behind the many, behind all, within all, every time, all the time, within boundless time and within boundless space. That's the answer. Now obviously you forgot it because it's too long an answer. So there you are. So we remain as we are. No, alhamdulillah, mashallah, we are Muslims. And Ramadan is coming. Now everybody's saying, Ramadan, Ramadan Mubarak. I've not met a single Muslim who fasts without them being anxious about Ramadan. That's why the week before Ramadan, they do a lot of shopping. Just in case, just in case. And of course they get all kinds of digestive problems. Anxiety. Anxiety, anxiety. So where is faith? Where is trust? Where is reliant on the infinite, boundless, ever-present divine light? So that's why they are in such a mess. Because they have a map and they're not following it. The map is, all of it is from Allah, by Allah, unto Allah. Allah is in charge. And you are here in order to begin proper worship of that. Quran says, and I did not create the jinn and the ins except to worship me. If you find one person who is truly ecstatically in worship, please let me know. Because I'm looking for that too.
If a person knows all of this, where does enjoyment come in?
What do you mean a person knows? A person knows. Once there is a person, there is a.
If someone is aware of
As I said, bring him and we'll talk. First find the person and then we'll talk.
Does someone like that enjoy life? Really enjoy life?
What is enjoying life? Enjoying life implies not being in pain, anxiety, in concerns, in fear, and. So if you don't have those, obviously life is wonderful. I find life is brilliantly intoxicating in its perfection, in its beauty, in its majesty, in its unpredictability. Suddenly the weather changes. How wonderful. With its own rules beyond my mind to understand. The weather forecast said A, B, C, and then suddenly something else happened. Unexpected. Whatever. Life is life. And I also have to accept it for what it is, yield to it, and be in adoration of it through prayers, silence, stillness. I discover that my life is not separate from life. So what's the problem? But it has to be done. It has to be lived. It has to be enjoyed. That is ibadah. Not just talked about or once in a while. It has to be constant. So as you lose the illusion that time has come and time has gone, and time is the trickle arrival of timelessness, from timelessness. So it is sacred, because it has just emerged from timelessness. That's why we say, don't waste time. Time is a great value. Give me more time, and so on. Because it's emerging from the absolute, timelessness. So what has emerged from the absolute is also my ruh, which is timeless. Once I know my soul is timeless, so I don't mind my life to be short, because my ruh continues and is timeless. To know that, initially I am told something, then I experience something, until such time I know nothing else other than this. My soul is eternal, boundless, timeless, and I have to revere it. And my body and my mind and what I do is as a housekeeper, trying to create an ambience, body, organs, that are not fighting, that are not sick. So life continues for a while until its time has come beyond my ability to assess, to leave. So celebrating its arrival, celebrating its journey, celebrating its departure, celebrating the divine will. So next time we meet is only to celebrate the divine will. And if you are celebrating the divine will, then you don't need to meet either. So that is done.
Sheikh, if I could get your commentary on one of these ayahs. It says, "And every man, we have fasted to him his bird of omen upon his neck. We shall bring forth for him on the day of resurrection a book he shall find spread wide open." Wide open.
Human beings were the culmination of movement and movement and movement in the rise in consciousness. So over billions of years, from whether you call it a bacteria or a virus or whatever, that beginning of life, it ended up with the hominids, maybe 2-3 million years ago, these unusual creatures, many Adamic beings, ending up with one, if you like, species, one entity, which we call the children of Adam. So, with the rise of in consciousness, the rise of intelligence gives it a greater responsibility over, if you like, your body, your faculties, your mind. So you suddenly find you have got considerable power. You know, I can kick the door, I can shout, I can move, I can be quiet. So you see the touch of the divine in you. So everybody considers themselves have been touched by that higher power. So life began to be participative destiny. Otherwise, I can have a hand in it. I can die now. I can shout. I can move. I can sleep. So it is participative destiny between the overall divine will and my will, which is also from the divine will. It was given to me by that. So I am like being given a bit of an apprenticeship to act or not act, or be or not be in a manner that is not going to be regretted, is not going to cause me pain, anxiety, sadness, misery, and so on. So we have been abusing that. And that is why there is prevailing misery everywhere. Because we have not taken permission. We have not started everything with Bismillah. Are you allowed to do that? Can you retract? No, never mind, I have the money, I can go. So, it is participating in the cosmic will. And it is that I will see when I die. And that is the neck around my neck. Because I will then see it clearly. I did it to show off. I did it because I was considered to be a man of knowledge, or a man of power, or an alim, or some whatever, or a king. So what you and I and he and she do is often not seen in its fullness. Maybe for me to gain more status, or to put somebody down, or to attack. But this will be shown to me after I die. Because at the moment the ego, which is the dark side of the self, masks it. So I don't see why I did it. It's to show off. To be considered to be of a higher thing. Why higher? Because the ruh is at the highest level. Everybody wants to be higher, higher, bigger. Yeah, they care for me a lot. I love those people. I love Auntie Sarah because, whenever I'm there, they make a lot of fuss. Like the very quickly, if you like, emerging actress. By the time she is in her 30s, she's as though she is a goddess. By the time she is in 60, she is on all kinds of medication. Look at the ludicrousness of it. You have to move in time over long periods, at least few centuries, and then you see clearly, where are they now? For 1,000 years in the country which is now Iraq, over 1,000 years, there was no year that the Assyrians were not at war. One of the greatest empires ever, centered around northern Iraq, Nineveh. It was war, 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 conquer, conquer, conquer. 1,000 years. And so did many of the others. Conquer, conquer, war, war. It's only recently now that we discovered, no, maybe power is better. Status is better. Influences, so it comes through money. So there's more mineral there, we go and conquer it. Go and Greenland has a lot of them. Get it. Take it. And so on and so on. Human being is in the process of growing through intelligence, through the light of intelligence, along consciousness. Higher and higher and higher, until it reaches a point beyond measure. That is the meaning of prayers. That is salat. That is reflection. That's meditation. That is stillness. That is silence. You enter it through the gate of silence. So that's it. So next time I may meet with you, if you can have 5 minutes with me, utter silence. So you have to guarantee me that you can show it with me, sitting with you like this. We go into silence. So if not, then you need to work, and I can't help you. And if you can't enter into silence, then you don't need me. So either way. You can only help on the peripheral.
Sorry to continue to disturb the silence, but...
no, I'm used to it. Everybody else is like you.
But...
you're not that distinguished in your ability to ask. Everybody is, I am the same. Whoever asks is the same. Well, it really means, where is God? Why isn't God taking over from me? But God has enabled us to do that in order, as the Quran is full of it. لِنُرِيكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. So as you practice and you improve on your action, improve, until you reach the point like, I am almost entering in being totally indifferent. Utterly indifferent in every way. It makes no difference. But when I'm touched as a human being, I may say something. Otherwise, I do not consider myself able to do anything, anyone, anytime. Therefore, I'm relieved. I don't owe you, him, her. What can I do? Allah is in charge. Go and ask God, not me.
Shaykh, I know you say that there's this continuous prevailing darkness, and us young people often have more accountability and more awareness than generations before. And the reason I think that is because we see a lot of suffering in the world, and we feel a sense of injustice, that other people suffer more than us, or certain nations suffer more than us. And so there's a level of accountability or gratitude that we have. Is there a reason people suffer more than us, or certain nations suffer more than us?
Rise of intelligence.
Yeah.
Look back 5,000 years ago. There'll be groups of human beings. Look back 2,000 years ago. Where would your origin be? Your great, 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 whatever you descended from, where? You'd be one of a group of people, maybe 200-300 of them, moving wherever there is ease of food, reasonable shelter, not too much danger, and the average age would have been maybe 25, and that's it. But rise of intelligence and greater awareness in consciousness is where we are now. You're aware how abusive we have been with the natives of any land you take. Kick them out of the land, take the land from them before they know, compensate them. You know nutmeg? Do you know nutmeg?
No.
Ask your mother or others, get a nutmeg and you'll be amazed. It's a beautiful little, I don't have here. It's from a very exotic tree, and about 500 years ago, the Dutch and the British were competing to find the source of what became very popular in Europe to eat, which were the clove, all of the 4 or 5 special spices.
Okay.
You know. So they found that there were a few islands in Indonesia that had the best. Nutmeg was the king of all. Within nutmeg, there is something called the mace. 500 years ago, if you had 2 kilos of nutmeg, you would be a very wealthy man. Now, 2 kilos of nutmeg, maybe 2,000 rands, nothing more. Now, there were 5 islands that produced nutmeg. The Dutch had acquired 4. The British had 1 only. They all produced this, and the poor natives, they were used not even as good as slave labor. Then after about 70, 80, 90 years, the British began to have more and more influence in America. And they considered Manhattan as a very good location to build a commercial center. That's what became New York.
Yeah.
And Manhattan at that time was owned by the Dutch. So they exchanged Manhattan with one of these tiny little islands that nobody had visited. Very difficult to visit even now. It will take you 2 to 3 days non-stop travel to get to it. So they gave them the Nutmeg Island and took Manhattan. That's for your value system. What island, what nutmeg, what... Cinnamon was number 3 on the list of values. Nowadays, we trash the salt. Look at Gandhi. One of his biggest things was we go and make our own salt because the British taxed it. Salt tax. Yeah. They said nothing. So the British couldn't allow everybody not to go to the sea. They go. Human being is truly pathetic. Truly, truly pathetic. You want everything, and once you have it, you suffer from the excesses and the impossibility to control it, keep it, or keep the others who want to come and get it. Pathetic creatures, look at them. That's why they have to put up these things, pips and things and hats and things. So now we are royalty. Look at me, see. Can't you see I am royalty? That era is gone. Your generation is challenged more and also fortunate more. enter into silence and you have access to another zone of consciousness to which we are all heading towards. And if you calibrate with it now, you are likely to make less mistakes, suffer less, and be more present in the moment more. That's it. Religions have served their purposes. They still do on occasions, but also it can be the reverse, the dark side of it, the excesses, and that's how it is. So a healthy young person, if they are given, if you like, the encouragement and the guidance and a little bit of reflection, to have 2-3 times a day, half an hour, total worship, then they will be able to self-correct, if you like, modify, and self-apologize. So I'm sorry, I wanted to impress you, and I didn't know you were really ahead of me by not caring for all this. How wonderful, what a relief. All that pompousness. You know, I really thought I can now show off, and then it turned out that you were ahead of me. Thank you very much. Thank you, God, for having shown me that this fellow is not below me, is above me. That's it.
Shaykh, I would just have one last comment, a question for you, but for me to ask you the question, I have to relate something from my own personal life. So, if there was a time when I was living in the UK and I was studying in the UK, and I lived in a district where there was all the big banks and all the corporate environment, and I felt like I wasn't really being educated at the time, and I wanted something more. As I was walking to university, obviously it was the time when all investment bankers, everyone in their suits and ties, were heading towards their jobs, and I was heading towards university. There was a hobo on the street with ragged clothes, and he probably slept on the street as well. And he starts screaming as everybody is walking, and he starts screaming. He says, "You all think I'm mad. You all think I'm mad. You guys are mad. You guys are dead. I'm alive. You guys are dead. I'm alive." And I remember that moment a lot, because it was a moment for me that that kind of affirmed that what I was thinking was correct. Was there any moment or time in your life where something was affirmed, your path in life or the direction you wanted to go was affirmed from an experience that you had?
You know, I was brought up, fortunately, in Karbala, Iraq. And Karbala was the destiny for many Muslim seekers and people who didn't care too much for the dunya. And they loved Imam Hussein, they loved the Akhirah, which is permanent. Akhirah is timeless. So there were many, many, many visitors. Qalandaris, you call them, other names you call them. People who had walked 2-3 months barefoot from Panjshir or wherever, until they get there. So I grew up as a kid. Right, our house was right next to the shrine. Every day I see 1, 2, 3, 10, 20 of these people with a tiny little purse carrying whatever they had. And so I grew up in an ambience of people who had turned away from the dunya. But neither accused the others for being mad, nor exalting themselves for being the only sane. None of that. It's another zone of consciousness. The West, you know, because it went material, then began feeling guilty. So they established monasteries. And then about 100 years ago, many of the best of these monasteries began to become resorts, began to be hotels and special, and on and on. So now there is no place for people like that except medication. So they dumb them down. you know, they medicate them. That's why psychiatry is one of the most fastest growing branches of medicine. Just bump them because they are a nuisance. Constantly they say, but why do you make money? Baba, money is power. I love money. I can do anything with it. I can play God. And so on and so on. So they become a nuisance. So, but occasionally to have few people like that near the underground, or where the city of the so-called industrialists and so on, it's even sometimes they like them to be there because they contrast also. So all of it is madness. Madness to think that what we know, what we live with, what we consider important is real. This is madness. It has some reality. It's a partial reality. Yes, it's pain, I'm in agony, I know that, a bit real. But tomorrow it may not be there. So I can't deny a touch of reality. But what we are looking for is only reality, nothing else other than reality. And that will come after death. Being death, out-of-body experience is very valuable. Near-death experience is helpful. Do it regularly. Every 2-3 hours, have 5 minutes and die. No thought, nothing that brings you again into the mind, into the imprisonment of space and time. And then you find no, space and time is wonderful. It's the womb of nature. Look at the plants, look at the color, look how they emerge, look how they die. And the dead one feeds the next one coming along. Ay, ay, ay. It's intoxicating ecstatically. That's it. Then you do what you can. But because of the mainstream is so powerful, so you get caught into doing things that you're not happy with. More money, more this, more power, more better car. But what for better car? To get where? It's the same over there. I will still be wanting that which is not possible, which is stable. How can it be stable? I'm hanging on air. Goes in, may not come out, but no, I want stability. This is the most stable investment, concrete investment. Look what we have done to the poor earth. Filled it with concrete. Because you want stable. I don't want it to rot. Wood will rot. What's wrong with that? You're rotting. Let it rot. Give somebody an employment. I live here in White River. When I came 30 years ago, there were only thatched roofs. Now you cannot find a thatcher. Finished. Permanent. So when it collapses, it kills everybody also. We still have some thatched roof here. It is the best climate. But it needs maintenance. What's wrong with maintenance? Have some people to maintain it. Have some people to work at it. No, it requires labor. Labor is trouble. Mechanize. Look at us. Now we are beginning to learn, no, it is handmade. Handmade jersey. Handmade. You pay 10 times more. No, it's pathetic. The human being is pathetic. So you're allowed to laugh until others may consider you a bit mad. That's fine. Now, I will say, no, he's beginning to entering sanity. It's like that, Baba. It's a changing, and intelligence are rising. I have in my own family some of my own children exceptionally able to be successful in the outer world.
Yeah.
And I can share with you delightfully that amongst them there are those who said, no, I don't want to have a high position. I've been offered it, he is in front of me. I want a below middle position. I want to enjoy life. I want to do gardening. I want to look at the creatures, the animals. I tell you honestly. And I'm so honored they can do it. They say, no, I don't want that. I want spare time. I want to be able to walk. I want to run with the dogs and the cats. One of the children says, I love this house. I don't want to leave. It's in a very expensive part of London. They said, because there's a fox living in the garden. I don't want it to be destituted. I don't know. I want to stay here. Can you imagine a fox in the middle of London? Wonderful. It will come. There is the way we have taken the so-called Western, the only thing is Western, European, American culture is not conducive for delight. It's all material, pleasure. Pleasure comes with pain. All right?
Thank you, Shaykh.
Oh, all right. We're content. No, I tell you what. If I'm still foolish enough to be in this world, we'll have another bout maybe in 3 months' time. But really, again, like what we did now, genuine, real. Don't be the spokesman for others. There is no others. It's your generation, yes. You share certain miseries, certain aspiration. Most of it also complaint against parents, I understand. It's quite natural. Ignore it. Poor people, they came at a different time.
Yeah.
And be present. And few times a day, enter into true worship. That's why Islam has got the 5 times. And declare Allah is greater than whatever I thought is important. Allahu Akbar. Blew the mind. Greater than ever I thought is a big issue. Don't make a big issue. The biggest teaching of Imam Ali is that whenever you're faced with serious problem, minimize it. Consider yourself you're not there, you're dead. So you find, no, it's easy. I made it into a big problem. But your generation also needs to address the issue of relationships.
Yeah.
It can only happen with good respect. Respect the others. They're the same, but differentiated. They're the same as me, but slightly differentiated. A bit of a culture, a bit of an environment, different womb. That's it. And focus on Quran. Take some of the shorter surahs. Then we'll have fun.
Okay.
Yallah. Next time we only do Quran. But it contains everything. If we do Quran, it will contain everything we touched and more.
Thank you, Shaykh.
Good luck. Good luck. Salam.